will be Zach Allen or Eric. Explosive start here, Legion Warboss on turn 1. This is why I hate the mono red prison deck, because half of your hands do this, and this is good enough against almost no one in the format. That's my take on the mono red prison deck.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Almost everyone's going to be able to deal with this 2/2 creature right away.
Yep, and here we go. You see,
and you've committed
white mana.
So many resources, and who cares about the 1/1 goblin that's left?
Yep. If this was a Chalice of the Void, great start against this deck. If this was a Blood Moon, maybe that's
Blood
okay.
Moon,
Depends on the hand for Allen, but this particular start doing almost nothing for the mono red prison deck. Gonna have to rebuild, but playing right into Zach Allen's hands now. Just a lonely Cedric Phillips on the battlefield.
Oh, but he's working hard.
He is working hard, trying to do his best, as Cedric Phillips always is.
And I mean, we've talked about this a lot yesterday and today, but these control decks picking up so many more basics than they used to have, it's just huge.
Yeah, especially against a mono red prison strategy. Those Blood Moons not as effective as they were in the past. So Nicolas Beland, last time we were in Syracuse, lost playing for top 8.
Got to appreciate the consistency, but it stings to get so close to not make it. It
absolutely does. Is this going to be the time where Nicolas is able to break through, grab that top 8 finish? You see a Magus of the Moon in Nicolas's hand against Zach Allen's battlefield of Island, Mountain, Plains.
All basics. More lands than your opponent. What you do in the mid game is more powerful than your opponent.
Is Grey Ogre Legacy playable? That's what we're about to find out. Here you see Cedric Phillips still continuing to grind, trying to take out Zach Allen.
Fighting the good fight.
Absolutely. Here's a Snapcaster Mage, though. Ready to answer that token. Zach Allen has had enough. Says, get out of here, Cedric Phillips. I'm done with you. You see why now. Jace the Mind Sculptor coming down. I believe you call him the Mac Daddy of Planeswalkers. Is that correct?
Yeah. He's still on top, right?
Very fresh and topical reference there. Mac Daddy, of course. One of the members of Crisscross, I believe. It was the Daddy Mac and the Mac Daddy.
Look at you.
Yeah. That's right. I got some Crisscross knowledge.
Just repping for the young kids out there.
They have no idea who no one has any idea what I'm talking about. This is just me and you having a conversation, Craig. Everyone else is tuned out at this point.
I mean, if you're into...
What is Crisscross?
Mediocre music and backwards clothes.
Mediocre is generous. Very generous.
I'm just saying, if that's what you're into, quick Google search now.
You're right. Oh, the treasures you're about to find in the Crisscross catalog. Meanwhile, Zach Allen doing Zach Allen stuff, drawing cards.
Oh,
Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Nicolas.
Pitching Blood Moon. Well, that card doesn't do anything anyway. I wouldn't be too sad about that loss.
No, but I mean, to sit on that side of the board and this is the last round. You're playing for the top 8. You can't concede, right? Like you've played so much Magic. You've made it this far. But at this point, Jace is on the board. It's tutored multiple times. It seems very close to hopeless at this point.
I agree with your assessment. Here's Goblin Rabble Master.
And you got to sit there and take it.
Answered by a Magmatic Sinkhole. Paying full retail for Magmatic Sinkhole.
Yeah.
It's a nice position for this deck to be in.
Yeah, it tells you where you're at, right?
Yep. Here's Craig's favorite Magic card, Arkham's Astrolabe. But a little brainstorm action.
So one person's casted like 6 spells a turn.
The other has played 2 threats.
And the other's playing 3 mana 2/2s.
Yeah. Not great. Well, here's Chandra Torch of Defiance, going to be met by a Spell Pierce from Zach Allen. More brainstorming from Jace. Brainstorm certainly seems right to me here. You don't need to deny your opponent anything. You just keep getting cards.
The carnage here. Nicolas, don't make us watch anymore.
Come on, Craig. He's got a battle here. I don't fault him one bit.
But this card doesn't even do anything.
No, it's two Gray Ogres. What are you going to do about that?
Oh, 3-mana 2/2s with no ability.
Well, they took a Swords to Plowshare out of Zach's hand. Snapcaster Mage, Swords to Plowshares again. Zach very happy to just be able to commit those Snapcaster Mages to the battlefield and get this one over as soon as possible.
He's already dead. Stop. No more.
Craig wants to throw in the towel over Nicolas's shoulder here. There are the beats from Snapcaster Mage. Nicolas falls to 9. Let's try again. It looks like a fiery confluence. Trying to answer those Snapcaster Mages. Spell Pierce.
Oh, jeez.
Spell Pierce says no. How about another Brainstorm?
It's like watching Rocky early in the movies.
Yeah.
Where he just gets beat up all the time.
Yeah, this is pre-training montage for sure. Here comes Snapcaster Mage again. Nicolas going to fall to 3, takes a draw. And I want to say end scoops, but not doing so yet. Just give it a little time here. Ensnaring Bridge.
Oh, man.
Okay. I mean, you got a lot of cards in hand. I don't know if that does anything.
Oh, it doesn't.
Force of Will anyway. Okay, that'll do it. Scoop them up. And we are headed to a game 2 between Zach Allen, Nicolas Beland. Why don't we check out sideboards here over on Zach's side. Couple of Palace Jailers, 2 Back to Basics, 3 Rest in Peace, a Braid, Celestial Purge, 2 Hydroblast, that's a nice one to find. Pyroblast, 2 of those as well. 1 Wear, love Wear Tear. Supreme Verdict, the other card for Zach Allen. Anything you like there, Craig?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Hydroblasts are just going to be a 10 out of 10 against the mono-red opponent.
Oh, yeah.
The Wear and Tear I can see coming in, and the Abrade to me is very good here too.
Agree.
It picks off the little creatures, and it's an answer for something like Ensnaring Bridge.
Sure. Meanwhile, over on Nicolas Beland's side, you see a sideboard of 1 Ensnaring Bridge, 2 Sorcerer Spyglass, 3 Scab Clan Berserker, 2 Sulfur Elemental, 4 Leyline of the Void, 2 Abrade, and 1 Chandra Awakened Inferno. Note a really interesting point here. No Karn the Great Creator in this mono-red prison deck.
Well, there's no red blasts in the sideboard.
There's also no red blast.
I'm very surprised not to see any red blasts.
Surprising development here. We'll have to see what Nicolas's plan is in this scenario.
It's tough because it's a deck that wants to play from ahead, right? It needs to get something on the board on the first or second turn, jam up the opponent, and play from ahead. Mm-hmm. And so something like Sorcerer's Spyglass that's good against opposing Planeswalkers, I almost don't want in the deck because it doesn't help me get ahead.
Right. Yeah, I don't think the permanents in this deck line up against what Zach Allen is doing whatsoever. The only card I really like out of the mono-red prison deck here is Chalice of the Void. I think that can do a lot to stunt Zach Allen's early development. I would be aggressively looking for a turn 1 Chalice. And I think that's how you can possibly wrangle a victory out. Something like turn 1 Chalice, turn 2 Goblin Rabblemaster. I think that's about as good as it gets for Nicolas Beland in this matchup.
Sure. Blood Moon against a lot of fetch lands. It's got to come down early because he's only going to fetch for basics.
Yeah, you got to get pretty lucky because there's 8 basics in this deck. 5 snow-covered island, 1 mountain, 2 plains. I mean, there's plenty of outs off just a raw Blood Moon.
That is a ton of basics.
Right. Yeah, only 2 dual lands in the entire deck. 1 Tundra, 1 Volcanic Island.
Oh, Astrolabe. How I loathe thee.
It's almost like a budget approach to Legacy. If you don't want to buy a whole bunch of dual lands, but you still want to play a blue deck, here's one way to do it. 3 mana on turn 1, Goblin Rabblemaster. We've been down this road, Nicolas.
So many resources.
All the resources in. 4 cards. Answered by 2, but still answered. Snow-covered island is the play for Zach Allen. Zach Allen working on this deck over the past few weeks with Harlan Freer. Both very big fans of the archetype. I'm a big fan of it. As I mentioned before, I think Monastery Mentor, an underplayed card in Legacy. This may be its breakout moment. This is the future of the Miracles archetype.
Yeah, and I like how they went with just 2 Magmatic Sinkhole.
Mm-hmm. There is a problem. They found a way to answer it. Here's a potential problem for Zach Allen. It's Trinisphere.
Sure, that's going to slow things down here.
Yep.
But
We need a threat. There's a threat. Goblin Rabblemaster. Okay, this hand's coming together now. I like where Nicolas is at.
Now the question is, does Zach Allen have a Blue Blast?
Swords to Plowshares.
Swords to Plowshares.
Magmatic Sinkhole works now, right?
Potentially, yeah, as long as he's got the fetch to clean up the mana. Maybe even Snapcaster Mage, right? You just punk that thing in combat.
Yeah, I think there's some options. Well, Zach's leaving. He's had enough of Goblin Rabblemaster at this point. You and I get to hang out for a little bit. What's your favorite Crisscross song? Just curious.
I mean, Jump always makes me jump.
It's true.
I don't know a single other Crisscross song, though.
Look, I definitely owned the Crisscross album when I was a child.
Wow.
I was literally a child, Craig. Man. Don't judge me too hard.
No, you need to take responsibility for the decisions you made growing up, okay?
And I probably wore my clothes backwards at some point as well. I'm going to put that out there right now.
My parents would have kicked me out of the house.
Mine probably should have. Monastery Mentor from Zach Allen. That cost 3 anyway. Goblin Rabblemaster, though, going to make another Cedric Phillips. Monastery Mentor going to hop in front of one of those Cedric Phillips.
Oh, if this Mentor lives.
Looks like we have a follow-up. It's Ensnaring Bridge is the play here.
That is interesting.
Interesting.
Right? Like.
Thinking we might have to shift gears quickly to defense, maybe?
Yeah, a little from column A, a little from column B.
Right. No, I mean, it makes sense to get it onto the battlefield. It's not actually affecting your offense right now. You may have to deploy it at some point. You just want to use your mana. I get it.
Yeah, it's just a card that feels like it matters none at all in this matchup, right? Like, once Zach Allen is stabilized, once he's taken control of the game, he can take all the time in the world before he decides he needs to attack.
Right. Well, I just think none of these cards matter at all. That's the ultimate problem here.
Yep.
Here's a Brainstorm from Zach Allen. It's going to put a Monk into play. Basic Mountain at the ready. Magmatic Sinkhole in hand. That Goblin Rabblemaster is going to get cleaned up here very shortly.
Yeah, and I think he was asking the judge
if he could cast it under Trinisphere for just one red.
What the rules interaction is.
Yep. This is the way it works. You're paying 6. You're just using an alternate cost with Delve. And that means Rabblemaster is no more. Here's another one, though. More rabbling. Make a few blocks here.
I believe both the tokens should be dead here.
Yeah. They figured it out. We're time walking anyway.
We couldn't fix it.
The sheer powerlessness of time walking sometimes.
It's out of our hands.
Right. It's in Goblin Rabblemaster's hands now.
Oh, not a Jace.
Palace Jailer. Maybe worse.
Jailer.
Maybe worse.
So when you're completely in control, this card is quite good.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of an awkward card against a deck that can deploy a lot of hasty creatures, right?
Yeah, that's true. But that's why you see Zach Allen staying back on defense.
For sure. I'm just saying, if you don't have Monastery Mentor, you almost never want to cast this Palace Jailer.
Right. I get you. Well, whole squad rumbling in right now. Maybe time for a little wear tear action as well. Going to answer that Trinisphere. It's going to put another Monk onto the battlefield, as well as trigger that prowess ability of Monastery Mentor and the Monk token. Now it's time for a Brainstorm. More Monks, more prowess triggers.
And it's funny that he blew up the Trinisphere. Like, he didn't have to if he didn't want to, right? Like, he could have just played this entire game. He's made all of his land drops. He can cast 2 spells a turn for 3 mana each if he wants to.
Right.
And that just speaks to how far ahead he is.
Well, here's Chalice of the Void right on time. This is exactly when this card wanted to show up. I'd assume there's something like a Snapcaster Mage in Zach Allen's hand, able to also answer that Ensnaring Bridge, because you don't want to get caught under that. But that would require Nicolas to empty basically his entire hand. You can just set up Monk attacks and do some post-attack prowess shenanigans. Chalice of the Void is going to resolve, and Nicolas is able to empty his entire hand.
But Zach found the answer. It's on top of his deck. It's a Teferi Time Raveler.
Perfect.
It's going to trigger all of these monks. They're going to get huge.
Yes, they are.
Send the bridge back, finish the
And that is going to do it. And that means Zach Allen, as you and I already knew, moving on to our top 8. And with that, our top 8 is whole. It is complete.
Read it down for us.
Well, you have it under your hand. So I'm going to take it from you first, and then I'm going to tell you all about it. Our top 8 competitors. Number 1, dominated the tournament all day. Going to be taking on Aiden Breyer, Kane Reinhardt.